Welcome back to PlayStation Corner. My name is Alex and today we're going to be taking a look at Guilty Gear Strive on the PS5. Now we're going to be breaking down the basics, the modes included, how it plays, how the PS4 and PS5 editions stack up against each other, the frame rate, all of that good stuff, and then giving you basically a general idea if it's, going to be worth the add to your library. So with that, a shout out to Arc System Works for sending a review copy our way so we could get this video out for you. And hit subscribe, join our growing PlayStation family, and let's get started. So normally I'd start here with a breakdown, of story, but as an ongoing series, just way too many spoilers to do that. So all I'm going to say is this: it continues Soul Bad Guy's journey, and here you're going to be out to settle your fate. For those new, it's going to kind of be difficult to jump in here, but Arc System Works, they put all content online to kind of catch you up in the form of online comics as well as cinematics. These are from prior entries and they are completely free. It's a great touch, allowing easy access for anyone new to the series that kind of wants to dive deeper into this crazy world. Just know though here as well, if you are new, story mode, no gameplay at all. It's a lengthy anime essentially, and I enjoy them, but it's very much kind of sit back, relax, and watch some epic action take place. So gameplay in Guilty Gear now is a classic of the 2D fighting genre, and it's absolutely lost none of its steam with this Strive entry. I'm going to put that up front. If there is a developer that's going to do good by you in my eyes, it's going to be Arc System Works, and they absolutely deliver the goods. It's a mechanically deep fighter, a roster of 15, and then there's 10 stages to battle it out on. These stages though, they even have different areas which you will cross over onto with the successful delivery of what is known as a wall breaker. The combat then is as solid as ever for anyone familiar to the name. Across the face buttons we get a punch, we get a kick, that's then accompanied by a slash and a heavy slash, so essentially think weapon-based maneuvers. Each attack can of course put a different spin on things with an accompanying directional input as well. It's smart, it's a case of kind of easy for beginners to pick up, but also difficult to master, as rhythm here with our fighters, it is staggered should an incorrect combo be performed rather than constant, fluid and smooth. Directional inputs then not only control of course movement as well, left and right, but jumps and dashes as well, and mastering simple things like a double jump compared to a high jump, that is going to be absolutely necessary for your success, especially when it comes to taking the fight online. Alongside the basic moveset then though, we do get dust mechanics as well, essentially guard breakers. They're attached to the meter at the top of the screen under the health bar, and then we also get overdrives. Overdrives first, they do require what's called tension, that is found at the bottom of the screen, and you build this bar up to a maximum of 2 overdrives, and you can do this through a number of different things, but basically it's forward momentum and attacks. Each character has an initial selection of 2, and they would be best described as your specials, fancy animations and all. This is just a high level overview though. This is not a game of all out attack, or at least it's not for me, but rather learning opponents' advances, defending yourself, and then eventually countering. Controls though here are solid, and one thing I was curious to see was, would they use the DualSense to add vibration to the controls, and thankfully they did not. I don't think any fighting fan would want this, and the only time you will feel any shake in that controller is when you match up in a fight online. That is similar to a ladder addition they made to Dragon Ball FighterZ, which works. You can look away from the screen, you can wait, you can chill, but then still receive some sort of notification for you about to head into battle. When it comes to the modes then, outside of story, which is purely just sit back and watch, as I said, we do get a selection of single player and 2-player modes as well. Now in single player we get arcade, which lets you choose a character, you battle it out in a string of 8 fights, and it somewhat fills in the gaps with story in the sense of almost this is what kind of happened in these battles. Then we get versus CPU, which is, as the name suggests, choose a fighter, choose an opponent, mess with the settings and get to work. Finally, we get survival, which is kind of a high score chaser mode dream. Essentially, think an endless wave of opponents that you must face off against. It's not actually heavy on content in that sense, but it kind of checks off all the right boxes. 2-player then is simple, one-on-one battles with friends in local play. Accompanying a single player, then we do get Dojo, which is basically you can face the tutorial for beginners. We can simply do training where you can fight either a stationary opponent or set up some sort of scenario. And then finally Mission, which I actually really like this mode. This mode presents you with different conditions to complete that all go into what I guess you can call advanced training. This mode then even gives you XP that goes into your character's level. The final option then is online play, and that's what most of you will be coming here for. The netcode's been bigged up and with good reason. It feels fantastic, and I think every fan is going to be happy. What you may not be happy with though is one of the strangest lobby systems I've seen in a while. It's this weird 2D pixelated world where you get an avatar, you can customize them, you can go fishing of all things, and yeah, you basically walk around looking for battles. There is kind of quick access as well, but I still struggle with the kind of why behind the design here. It gives me almost BlazBlue cross tag battle vibes, which had a 3D world. I didn't honestly like it 3D or 2D. I mean, like I said, you can fish for cosmetics for your character design. Just tell me that's not a little bit weird. This though then, it's the usual option of either ranked and unranked combat, and I got absolutely destroyed. The fight, so it's good stuff. I'm about as far from a pro as it gets, and I'm confident once the hardcore community does get online, I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed consistently. But for someone that is casual, I felt like I had a decent selection of attacks still available to me, and still a lot to kind of uncover thanks to its depth. There's then a solid selection of characters as well that feel like they all have their place with a little bit of practice. My personal go-tos, that was Anji Mito, Mei and Soul Bad Guy. Overall though, look, when it comes to the combat itself, I just have so few complaints. Not a huge fan, as I said, of the lobby system, but it feels very easy to forgive once you get into a fight. It's also a little light on modes as well, honestly, and I do see the opportunity here for more. But I'd say, honestly, fight fans, you should take a look if you intend to take things online, because yeah, this is absolutely one of the best online gameplay systems I've seen in a long time. Guilty Gear Strive then is a 2D fighter, but where it's a little more unusual is in the fact it uses 3D models, and they've been mastering this for years. Dragon Ball FighterZ is no doubt one of the most popular uses of the style, but Strive here just absolutely knocks it out of the park. This style, the animation it leads to for our characters is just, as I said, another level. It's incredible, honestly. It's even locked throughout as well at a solid 60 frames per second. For those on PS4 or PS4 Pro as well with concerns, no issues there either with the frame rate. You still get that locked 60. It's actually the resolution that's going to take a hit. The Pro's going to output at 1080p. PS4 somewhere closer to 720 with a resolution of 1536 by 864. The textures, the image, it's basically going to be a little bit muddier basically, but you'll still have no disadvantage in the gameplay department online. That naturally was the #1 priority, and I think in that sense they absolutely delivered. For issues with the visuals, honestly, everything looks so good here. I love the character design, I love the world. If anything, I'd say I got a little burnout from the opening cinematic, the eagle flying in. It's always that same animation. It can also almost feel stuttered. I checked, it's still 60 frames per second, but yeah, overall it's a stunning looking game, and that's me being super picky. Seeing it in 4K on the PS5 is incredible. Like I said, the animation's so fluid. It actually may be one of the best uses of almost think a cel shaded style I've ever seen. It's years of practice and testing, and it's absolutely paid off. The only other noteworthy add I would say is the main menus. Probably considered, for me at least, a little bit basic, honestly. They get the job done, but with so much kind of style everywhere else in the game, I think a little bit of flair would have paid off. Audio finally, and another winner. The combat sounds heavy and each roster member gets their own sound effects as well as recorded dialogue throughout. For me though, the real winner's gotta be the music. It's kinda cheesy, but in the best possible way. It'd be best described almost for me as like, think post-hardcore without the screaming. It works though, it keeps the pace fast and action-packed, and yeah, it's exactly what I hoped for. So the final verdict in Guilty Gear Strive is just another winner for the Guilty Gear name that has a few minor issues, but nothing that takes away from the game's main purpose, which is of course the fighting. Visually incredible. The PS5 output of 4K honestly one of the best looking fight games I have ever seen, and then the controls, the character selection makes for a real nice example of how each can be so different, so varied. It does have limited single player gameplay then and a story mode that's not going to be for everyone, but this is a fighter that you need to come for that online play, because there it just absolutely delivers. Sadly though, with one of the weirdest lobby systems I've ever seen that just doesn't feel necessary, if anything, that's a problem for me because it kind of slows down the pace of me jumping into that online battle, especially when everything else here feels so perfectly tuned. That said though, like, it just can't harm the experience for me. I still had an incredible time, and with that in mind, an amazing 9 out of 10. I can't wait to see where they go next with upcoming character DLC and stages. Will you be adding this one to the collection, or are you holding onto that cash? Even other features you would have liked to have seen that seem to be missing. With that then, hit subscribe, join our growing PlayStation family, and I will see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.